Donald Trump has just dropped a bombshell that's shaking the world. He's threatening to impose tariffs up to 25% on European countries unless they support the United States in invading Greenland. Let that sink in for a moment. Tariffs as leverage for military action. This isn't just a trade dispute, it's a direct challenge to European sovereignty, and the consequences could be massive. And here's the kicker, it won't just impact politicians or world leaders. This is about you, your economy, and your everyday life. If Trump gets what he wants, it could send shockwaves through global markets. Prices will rise, alliances will shift, and power dynamics will be rewritten. But here's the real question. Will Europe cave in, or will they fight back? Stick around, because what happens next could change everything, and I promise you won't believe what comes next. This is bigger than just Trump and Greenland. It's about the new world order. You see, Trump's tariffs are just the beginning. What's really happening here is a showdown between the United States and Europe. But this isn't just politics. It's a battle for global influence, power, and economic dominance. Europe is at a crossroads. Leaders like the Swedish Prime Minister and French President Macron are now pushing back, rejecting Trump's threats, and standing firm on their sovereignty. This isn't just a trade dispute. It's a direct challenge to Europe's entire strategy for the future. But why does it matter to you? Because the repercussions of this standoff will ripple out and affect everything: your wallet, your safety, and the stability of global markets. Now, the real question is, will Europe bend to Trump's demands, or will they break from the U.S. entirely? And if they do, what happens next? What could this mean for you in the long run? Let's dive in and see how this game is shaping up. Here's where it gets even crazier. Just today, European Union leaders are calling an emergency meeting in Brussels. And the reason? Donald Trump's tariffs are now threatening to cripple their economies. He's making it crystal clear: support his Greenland invasion or face financial ruin. But here's the twist. Trump isn't just playing hardball with trade. He's playing a game of geopolitical chess, and the stakes are higher than ever. You can see it in the reactions of European leaders. The Swedish Prime Minister is standing firm, declaring, "We will not be blackmailed." Macron is doubling down, saying, "We will not be intimidated." Notice what's missing in their responses? There's no room for compromise. This isn't a diplomatic negotiation anymore. It's a full-blown standoff. And when a world power like the EU says no, there are serious consequences. What happens if this escalates? We're not just talking tariffs anymore. We're talking about shifting global alliances, a weakening U.S. position, and possibly even military action. But Trump has one more card to play, and it could change everything. Now, just when you think it couldn't get more intense, it does. European leaders are pushing back hard, but Trump isn't backing down. In fact, he's escalating the situation. And this is where it gets really unsettling. This isn't the first time a U.S. president has tried to muscle in on Greenland, but Trump's approach is far more aggressive. This moment feels different. Historically, global powers have fought over territories like Greenland, but never in such a brazen, public way. We've seen similar moves from the U.S. in the past, but never with the kind of threats Trump is now making. The EU's coordinated resistance is a sign. This is no longer just about trade. It's about dominance, about who controls the Arctic and beyond. And here's the kicker. This normalization of extreme tactics, this is what we're now seeing on the global stage. Tariffs used as a weapon for military expansion, economic blackmail, and threats against entire nations. It's becoming the new normal, but it shouldn't be. What happens if this continues? If the U.S. continues down this path, it could alienate Europe for good. It could destabilize global trade in ways we're only beginning to understand. But the question is, how far will it go? Let's break down what happens next. Here's where things take a disturbing turn. Trump isn't just making threats anymore. He's taking action. Sources confirm that Trump is already preparing to implement tariffs on European nations that are defending Greenland. This isn't hypothetical anymore. This is happening right now. And the scale of the retaliation? Unprecedented. Let's look at the French response. President Macron is now stating that these tariff threats are unacceptable. And he's making it clear, no amount of pressure will change their stance on Greenland. Macron is doubling down on European unity, saying Europe will respond in a united and coordinated manner. This is a major shift. The EU isn't just defending Greenland, they're defending their sovereignty. But notice what's missing? Trump's original plan, use economic threats to force Europe into compliance, might backfire. Instead of breaking Europe's resolve, it's uniting them. And that's dangerous for Trump. His leverage is slipping. If Europe stays united, Trump will have no choice but to escalate even further or risk losing the very power he's trying to wield. And that could be catastrophic for global stability. Now, things are spiraling out of control. Europe isn't just sitting back. They're stacking responses, and they're doing it fast. We're seeing two things happen simultaneously. First, European nations are intensifying their pushback. Sweden and France are not just talking anymore. They're actively working with allies like Norway and the UK to craft a coordinated response. But here's the other thing. Trump's moves are triggering responses from unexpected places. European lawmakers are now looking to suspend trade deals with the U.S., something that could have a direct impact on businesses everywhere. Companies that rely on these trade deals are facing the very real possibility of economic fallout. This isn't just about politics. It's about businesses on both sides of the Atlantic being thrown into uncertainty. What happens if this continues? The world could see a full-on economic war, one that shifts global power balances and changes the way countries negotiate trade and protect their interests. And the worst part? This conflict could drag in nations that weren't even part of the original dispute, adding even more fuel to the fire. Now, let's take a step back and really think about the human impact here. This isn't just a battle between politicians or global powers. This is about the people caught in the middle. If these trade wars escalate, it won't just be European leaders feeling the heat. Ordinary citizens, farmers, businesses, workers will pay the price. Think about it. American farmers already struggling under the weight of Trump's tariffs will be hit even harder. European consumers could see prices skyrocket. And this isn't just theory, it's happening right now. The moment Europe starts pulling back from U.S. markets, it'll be the everyday people who feel the sting. If you've been affected by tariffs or rising prices, drop a comment below and let me know how it's hitting you. Because make no mistake, this is no longer just a political showdown. It's a battle for the lives of millions of people around the world. And the crazy part? We're only scratching the surface. If this goes further, it's going to change how we all live, work, and trade. Now, we need to take a step back and understand the deeper system at play. This isn't just about one leader's ego or a single trade dispute. It's about the mechanics of power itself. Trump's strategy isn't about winning a simple trade war. It's about leveraging fear and destabilization to reshape the global order. What's really driving this? It's the same thing that's been at the heart of U.S. foreign policy for decades: leverage. Trump is using tariffs as a blunt instrument to force countries to align with his vision, but it goes deeper than that. This isn't just about Greenland or Europe. It's about the United States asserting dominance in the face of a shifting global power dynamic. Here's the unsettling truth. It's not just Trump pulling the strings. There's a larger system at play that thrives on chaos and uncertainty. Fear is the currency of power in this game, and Europe's resistance is one of the first cracks in that armor. But what does that mean for the future? The more these power plays unfold, the harder it will be to unpick the damage done. The world is changing, and it's being shaped by a few key players pulling all the strings. Now, as we look ahead, there are two paths this story could take, and both are equally uncertain. On one hand, if Trump presses harder, he could break Europe's resolve. If the U.S. continues down this path of economic and military intimidation, it's possible Europe could start to fracture, with countries falling in line or opting to go their own way. This could destabilize the global economy in ways we can't predict, but there's one certainty: it would shift global power even further away from the United States. On the other hand, if Europe holds firm, things could escalate even more dramatically. A united EU could force Trump to rethink his approach. They could double down on sanctions, further isolate the U.S., and push for new alliances, especially with emerging powers like China and Russia. That would be a game changer, and it would make the U.S. even more isolated than it already is. So where does this all lead? We don't know, but one thing is clear: momentum is building, and decisions made today will reshape the future in ways we can't yet imagine. Here's the deep insight you need to take away. The world as we know it is on the brink of a major shift. Trump's tactics are not just about Greenland or tariffs. They're a signal of a world where power is measured in fear, leverage, and threats. And Europe is pushing back. But here's the thing. This isn't just about Trump anymore. It's about the global order we've taken for granted. If these power plays succeed, we're entering a new era, one where the balance of power isn't defined by treaties or diplomacy, but by who can dominate the other with the biggest economic and military leverage. What happens next will be crucial, and it's happening right before our eyes. So keep watching, because the next move is already taking shape. If you want to stay on top of this story and more like it, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss what comes next.